The headline advice, if you want to be funnier, is famously what doesn't have a path is media. It's all designed to fuck you. I think I'm good at reading people. They're not serious, like the drama people. Big corporations, they're so fucking horrible. The greatest gift that anyone can give to themselves is I mainly pay for people to eat eggs whilst I watch them. There's a podcast.
Ash Atalla, thank you so much for we finally got you on the pod.
We did it.
We've had the privilege of, I wouldn't say getting to know you because we don't really know you. And this is why we're so excited to actually sit down and find out more about your story. But we've been lucky enough to see you over the last few years on multiple nights out in London. And
we've been in the same room.
Yeah,
a lot.
Many times.
But not spoken.
Yeah.
I worry what you've seen of me doing in those rooms.
Oh, so many secrets.
No judgment though.
That is my concern. At the Chiltern?
Yes.
Yeah. It's all good. We sign 1 million NDAs, so none of
you
that will
probably
be
do.
released ever. Don't you worry.
I mean, you probably do.
We do.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, we do, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What, before people would come to the...
No, when we
Sign
get hired.
ourselves as staff. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, as soon as that's part of the thing. You sign an NDA. And
So what's the
that's
worst
it.
thing you've seen?
Oh.
Take
that
that
to
to the grave.
It was a test.
We could write a book. So we want to start light and relaxed and whatnot. But who or what still makes you laugh like a kid?
Do you know, we've just made these little online TV shows for YouTube. And I was just thinking last week, I mean, they're not out yet and they're kind of small and they're not going to take over the world. But I was watching them and there's something about them that makes me howl. And I was thinking how little I laugh at work in most things that I do. And there's a sadness about that. There's something, people who work in comedy, people go, they're quite serious. I don't think I am. But when you're watching stuff, you need to be serious about that because it's work. And so I don't sit around. I mean, there are other funny things other than what I do, so we can come to that in a minute. But when I'm working on my own stuff, I don't sit around laughing. I think it's really important to not.
To be taken seriously, or
no,
in the work. Is that why?
To not fall in love with your own work.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the thing.
Okay.
So when you're sitting watching the stuff that you do, to have a critical attitude to it.
Yeah.
Whereas
How do you do that?
Mostly by thinking everything should be a little bit shorter.
That's true.
You know?
That's so true.
Like things should be quicker.
Yeah. Yeah.
A joke should be faster. And I rarely, well, you tell me, when do you ever watch something and kind of go, I wish it was another half hour? It's always the opposite.
Yeah, you always want to keep them
Movies.
wanting more.
Mhm.
Wanting more.
Yeah.
And so I do find when you're in an edit working on stuff, people are like, I'm like, it just needs, why do we demand somebody's time to sit here and watch this? So the headline advice, if you want to be funnier, is to be a bit quicker in life.
That's good advice.
I've got one or two friends. The other part of the answer is I've got a friend called Rupert who's so silly and daft. He really makes me laugh. His jokes are so bad. And our whole shtick is how not funny he is.
Yeah.
It's
And it's the
important to
best.
have friends like that.
Yeah.
And people that you surround yourself with like that bring that out. Because laughter is, for me, I believe, is one of the greatest joys in life. There's nothing like that belly laugh where you want to cry.
I know.
It's the
It
best
doesn't come
feeling
around
ever.
often though,
Yeah.
does
No.
it? Yeah.
So we need
But
to.
it's like it's a survival tool as well. Like even when there's like awkward moments, like you need that comedy. Like my mum, she passed away in November and we had her funeral, and my mum was quite a bossy woman. And when the hearse was leaving the house, all of the cars were in the way. So people had to get in their cars and move out the way for this hearse leaving, and everyone just broke into laughter because they were like, she's still fucking bossing us around. And we got it on camera and it's so funny, but like comedy is everything. Like
Comedy is everything. And also, like you just said, sometimes comedy sort of not necessarily in the laughter, like comedy is in the pause
yeah.
and in the silence. And I'm pretty good at waiting out an awkward pause. I could be there for hours, wallowing in it. I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, this is super awkward and I'm sort of loving it.
Yeah, but that's what reels people in, especially in watching something. It's those moments where you just I watched a Family Guy episode once where he couldn't get the cling film to, to unravel, and like as human beings, when you're trying to get cellophane, cling film, whatever they call it in the UK here, to put it to cover your dinner so that you can have your leftovers tomorrow, it takes half an hour to find the edge, and then you're starting to find it, and then it rips, and then and the scene went on and on for like 5 minutes, and it was just so simple but so funny because it just carried on and on and on and just made it awkward, but that's where the gems are.
And there's something about not asking for laughter too much. There's
Mm.
something there's something very needy about trying to make people laugh. It's sort of a very grabby, quite lack of dignity, a loss of dignity. I think pursuit is sort of asking for a laugh. And so I think it almost goes to like the person in the pub that who just, it's a try hard. It's like they're trying too hard. It's too much. I don't like being around that. So I
Yeah, it
think
makes it a bit cringe, doesn't it? You
it's
can feel it.
cringe.
It's
You
that
can feel
inauthenticness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
desperation
Yeah,
anywhere
absolutely.
is not the sexiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What as a producer and as someone who's been in this game for a long time, what is the thing that you see when, say, a young writer gives you a script, and you read it? Like, what do you need to see to be like, yes, this has potential. This is something I want to say yes to, take a chance on.
There's something in dialogue that, so all of life is basically how we speak. And I think young comedy writers sort of forget that there's a naturalism to planet Earth, this conversation that we're having now, all the conversations that we'll have for the rest of our lives. And sometimes or mostly they write in a way that isn't how we know that people speak. And so the whole scene is geared up towards a joke. And by the time you get to the joke doesn't work because you don't believe the run up. So dialogue is my answer to that. If somebody can write sort of sparkling, the best version, the funnier version of the conversation we're having now, that is, I guess, what great writers can do. And character, because again, comedy really, I always say the jokes are easy. We can put jokes in at the end almost. So you should always strip down. The funny thing is you should strip down a comedy script from the jokes and think about the characters. Who are these people? Are the people funny? Funny people. Forget the jokes in the first instance and work on the humanity of it.
How much of it is about the character? Because obviously, I mean, The Office, iconic British show that was down to you. And, how much was it? Some of the characters are not likable people, but how did you make them likable? Was it through casting, through the actors that you chose, or the comedy, or like, how did you make that into a thing? Because it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, likability in comedy is it's a really interesting question. I don't think everyone should be likable or needs to be, because most people aren't always in real life. Second of all, a lot of comedy we call them comedy monsters or comedy leads, are irritating. What happens these days is like channels want to test everything. And so you'll find that the person in your new show who is the least likable, often the most funny, scores the lowest. Well, that's for a reason, because they're annoying. So then they're going to go, what do you think of these characters? And they go, that person's annoying. And then the channel go, we need less of that person. I go, well, they're the best ones. So there's this sort of discussion around likability. Funnily enough, it often is a discussion around females as well, which is just wildly misogynistic. But there's something, you sort of hear that discussion a little bit more in TV rooms.
Still.
I'm afraid a little bit, I would say. I wonder if like 70% of the time there's a discussion in that area, it's around a female character. It's really interesting. But I think everyone has their well, not everyone, but most people have their redemption. And in David Brent, for example, to use that thing, was he likable? Well, in the end, we gave him his redemption, and he got the woman, and he stood up to the bully in Finchy and all of those things. So I think sort of likable is maybe too simplistic a term, but what you want to do is make them feel 360 real. And nobody is any one thing all the time. And so when you hit those characters who are that thing, they're doing that thing in the show, it's really important to show them doing something else. So that comes back to like character depth.
Yeah, fully rounded 3D version.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Anna and I are both really inspired by what we've seen of you and what we've heard of you, and the mindset that you have towards life and creativity. I mean, we've done quite a bit of research and listened to a few interviews, and have gotten to know you. And I'm so intrigued as to, like, we don't want to ask you the same questions that you get asked all the time, but you were in finance and then you pivoted to work at the BBC. I'm interested in the mindset of writing to producers and putting yourself out there in that way that a lot of people don't do because they're afraid of the rejection or the no's or they just won't get back to me, or what am I doing? I'm wasting my time. This is, so what is it about mindset, and when you want something and you feel that you should go for something, that you were able to do that? That was a very long question.
I get it though. I feel a real sense of urgency a lot of the time in my life. And so going back to that moment when it wasn't working out in finance, I really felt like quite, sometimes you're doing something or in your career and you're like, this isn't quite feeling right. And I don't allow myself much thinking time. I sort of always want to fix things, which I think people find annoying. I find it quite annoying.
Why the urgency? Is that just because you feel like time is running out?
Yeah.
Or
I've always felt time is quite wildly fast. But I think what surprised me about that moment in career terms is I was young. I was just 24 or 25, and I describe it as a midlife crisis in youth. But I still have that kind of sense of like, if something isn't happening, working, feeling good to me in any part of my life, I'm quite instinctive. So for good or bad, I don't allow myself much thinking time before I'll put some pretty wild shit into action. And I don't know, break things and move on. There's that sort of horrible tech phrase, smash it up and go on to the next bit, is something I do quite a lot in my life. I do it in my private life. I've done it in my work life. I just think I don't want to sit around, he says on a podcast, I don't want to sit around talking.
Yeah.
I want to get on with it. And so when that wasn't working in my career, I was like, fine. Like, this isn't going to happen. I'm not going to be in the city. I can feel it. They can feel it. I'm not going to let 5 years, I'm not going to let 1 year pass sitting in this. As I get quite certain, quite clear.
So you're quite intuitive.
Very
decisive.
Very decisive.
Not a lot of people know how to listen to that voice, that feeling. So why do you think that you're able to in such a strong way?
Can't control it.
Oh,
I
lucky
can't control
you.
it. I mean, listen, it does. Well, I don't know. It does come with downsides. It's not. I don't think of it as a brag. It's just. It's how I'm built. And I guess, look, what would be the downsides is maybe you decide things too quickly. You sort of judge people quite quickly. I'm very instinctive with how I feel about friends and family and lovers and all of that. I sort of think it's all at breakneck speed.
Has it ever worked in your detriment, being decisive, like in terms of like work? Have you ever gone, no, I'm not going to do that, and then it's blowing up and you've gone, shit, I should have?
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say the answer. Yeah, kind of. I was telling somebody this at the weekend. I was in a really roundabout way. I went to meet the team that became the team who did Ted Lasso, that
Okay.
massive
Yeah.
Apple hit.
The whole of Richmond is now,
Yeah.
every store is dedicated to Ted Lasso.
I had a meeting in LA about what became that show, and the
Okay.
meeting sort of went badly, and somebody was rude to me, and I was rude to them, and I think, yeah, so maybe that. But I always sort of say you try to get through your career without passing on the Beatles,
Mm.
and I don't think I have yet. But to broaden out that answer, I mean, I'm sure I miss out on stuff, or I misread people, or I misjudge people, or I irritate people, or I make hasty decisions. I think I would rather it that way.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people just don't act like that, and don't find it hard to pivot so quickly. I think maybe there'd be more people finding success or finding their purpose if they actually did pivot quickly. Because I think a lot of people can sit in jobs for years and
They get too comfortable.
yeah, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm 40 years old, or I'm however, and now can I? Is it too late to change? I have kids and a family and
Yeah,
so
I would say act now.
yeah.
I sort of have quite a low boredom threshold, which is, I think, helpful in the job that I do. We were just talking about, if I gave you one bit of advice about comedy, it'd be to make it shorter. And part of that is just sort of being, restless in the moment. But it's also exhausting being restless.
How do you quiet your mind?
Yeah. It's not very quiet, very much.
Yeah.
I mean, what do I do to quiet my mind? Fucking hell, help me quiet it. I mean, I like going out. I like going out and drinking, as you both know.
Yeah.
And that's a really important part of my release. And it's almost as important in my diary as going to work. I don't go out and drink as often as I go to work, as in I don't do it every day.
Yeah.
But I would say once a fortnight, I feel like the need to do it. It's a release. It's sort of something that I speak about openly,
Yeah.
It's something
You
that
find that inspires you creatively, just being out and characters and
honestly, I don't. I mean, I would love to be able to retrofit this and justify it as an important part of my job, and I'm on board.
yeah, we can
With
do. We
this.
can say that's why.
Let's develop this theme. But I think the truth is, it's just it's sort of a quieting of the mind, because you lose your mind.
Escape.
Do you know what I mean?
Escape.
You're in another bit of your mind. I think the other thing is I can watch a lot of television, and do watch a lot of television, and it's not comedy, documentaries, true crime.
True crime, interesting.
It's like a really dirty true crime habit. All of those silly Netflix documentaries, but yeah, anything that's not in my own
Yeah.
field of TV. So yeah, I
Yeah.
can do that. Love is Blind. I can watch nonsense on TV, not the good stuff, just the nonsense.
Yeah, you can just shut off,
Yeah, but beyond that, it's the mind is an active place.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it. Stay
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Going back to your you're running out of time. Do you believe, I know this is a bit more of a sort of philosophical, spiritual question, but do you believe in kind of reincarnation and other lives, or do you feel like this is the only life you've got and that's why you've got this fear of it running out?
Yeah, I think for me it's the latter. It's the latter. I think I come from a religious background. My mum and dad are, and other people in my family are. I'm not. I think I'm spiritual. Although I had to look that up the other day, because I was like, people say it, and I was like, well, what? Be more specific. What does it mean? So anyway, I've looked that up. I suppose I'm possibly spiritual, but I don't think I'm religious in terms of the paraphernalia and the language and the ritualistically religious. And so, yeah, if this is the one shot You know, one of my mates always says, you've never heard anyone on their deathbed say, I wish I'd drank less. I wish I'd had less. Well, maybe an alcohol. I wish I'd had less sex. I wish I'd
Yeah.
gone to more parties, you know. So I sort of try to live by that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe too much.
Where did your ambition come from? Was there one person you looked up to, or
Probably my dad.
yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, my dad is really ambitious. He's a surgeon, retired. And I've talked about this a bit before, but I sort of had this childhood that was very loving. It wasn't like a boot camp, but it was also like a boot camp in terms of sort of thinking about the challenges that I was going to have in my life and what I needed to do to overcome them. And the wheelchair is a huge part of that. And so he really, I don't know, I guess if you have a child who's a wheelchair user, you have to reframe the life that child might have. And I suppose my dad both did and didn't do that. So he was like, your life is going to be different. I mean, he he's this sort of strange character in that he's sort of like very much the world won't come to you. You've got to go to it. He's a real go-getter.
Like no one's coming to save you
No
type
one's coming to
mentality.
save you.
Yeah.
He's that classic immigrant story of he came to, I don't even know if these stories are true, but every immigrant I've ever met came to England with £2 in their sock on a boat. So sort of dad has that mentality, and of course he had to fight for his way here. And then I think he probably looked at me and went, and at that time, maybe when I was a kid, maybe color, he's Egyptian, his English wasn't, probably not as good as it is now. And so I think he had like, okay, brown son and wheelchair. So he was just like, you've got to really focus, kid. But the flip side of that was like, it's going to be all right if you do these things. So that's where the sort of training element of it. And he really taught me and brought me up to sort of strive for it. I don't know if it's something that is within a person or you can teach it, but we're all products of our environments to an extent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that was my environment. And it was just, you've got to push really harder. You got to want it. When you say it out loud now, it sort of sounds like 1980s cliche. Jump twice as high, work twice as long, make sure you're noticed. Make sure you're noticed, I think, is sort of something that has landed with me.
When you went from finance to kind of a completely different career change, did he accept that? Or was he always just like, you follow your path and you figure out what works for you, and supported you?
I think he was really, and we all were, I think that was a real scary moment for me. I felt that quite astutely, because you're sort of going from a career that is kind of famously well remunerated if you're good at it.
Yeah.
2, has a sort of a specific path. Like you can be a trader and you basically sit on that desk making money for the next 40 years, or whatever. Most careers have a path. And famously, what doesn't have a path is sort of media.
Oh yeah.
Right?
It's like this.
There's no path. And so jumping from that ladder where you could see the ropes upwards to another one where, snakes and ladders at best, was and even for me, like, what is a job in television? I didn't really know what it was. Certainly for him as an Egyptian doctor, it's like, it's not really, I think maybe now there is, people understand that it's a career, although, really difficult at the beginning. So I think there was a lot of anxiety, but I felt it myself. I kind of thought, how do I do this? I also sort of had this quiet calmness that it was going to be all right. I think
That's that intuition.
that's that intuition. Yeah. Yeah.
And being a father yourself, and congratulations, you've just had a
Thank you.
second
I
baby.
have.
Um,
Remy, we should give him a mention.
yeah,
R-E-M-I.
absolutely.
Remy with
What
an
does
I.
it mean? Does it have a meaning?
No, it does actually, but I can't remember. It's not really a meaning name. We just like the way it sounds.
Yeah, Remy.
Remy Martin.
I mean, that's a celebrity name right there already.
Yeah, Remy Attala.
Do you think that you're going to be like your father to Remy and your daughter? Do you think you're going to instill the same mentality with them, or do you think you're going to be a little bit more Ash?
I think I'll probably take a slightly more me path to it, but I do want them to feel pushed. Like I think sense of purpose is really good. I do though want them to have the freedom if having had the career that didn't go in the way that I thought, and then having had the joy of the career that is the thing that I didn't know I wanted to do, but I'm now doing and happy in it. I would just think the greatest gift that anyone can give to themselves is finding their thing. And so I guess I'm going to do this. I'm going to help them try and find their thing, not my thing. But then once they found it, I'll be pushy in that, if that makes sense. I don't have ideas for, I've got a daughter from a previous relationship called Coco. I don't want to make her an accountant, a trader, a writer, whatever it is. But I'm sort of encouraging her, perhaps abnormally young, to think about what that might be. I just don't like people who drift. I just
Yeah.
don't like drifting.
I think that's it's great because not everyone has the parents around that give them the freedom to find what tickles their fancy and what lights them up, or to try things, to at least see what you're into, you know? So I think as a parent, I think that's one of the greatest gifts you can give your children, is giving them the guidance as well, kind of showing them, maybe don't go there because you might find that this lights you up more. Not everyone has that, so.
Yeah, and I'm also like, work for yourself. I've got this real thing, like I think big corporations, they're so fucking horrible.
They suck.
They suck, and they don't care about you,
No, you're
right?
just a name on a sheet
They don't
paper,
care.
not even a
They
name.
spit you out whenever it's good for them. They spit you out. So this sort of sense of like loyalty to companies, it's not for me. It blows my mind that people get sucked in. It's like that show Severance. I mean, I just think, so whatever it is that anyone I love finds to do in their life, then I go, well, that's cool. Then do it for yourself, because, and also sort of, for me, it's a dignity thing about the rules of big companies. Corporate culture is so naff. It's so, I'm embarrassed by it all. I work within the system. Don't get me wrong. I'm not speaking about some wild maverick. Like I'm in the game very much, but I'm just like, really, I'm also watching the game, and I'm also like, this is bullshit. We all know it. I have to go pitching all day long. I'm a sales guy as well as other things. So, but I just want to instill in people I love, like, whatever the job is, if you start young, you can have your own thing in that. You know, you don't have to be Google on day one, but whatever it is you choose to do, like, how could you do it for you?
I mean, you have to wear many hats. You have to do sales, you're a producer, you're this, you're that. How much of that was figuring it out on the spot and kind of rolling with it? Or because how would you have known how to do all of these things before you did it? And what advice would you give to someone who is spinning a lot of plates and doing various different roles? Like, how do you, when you've got strength in one area and not necessarily the other, do you get someone else to help you? How much of it is collaboration, or do you just kind of roll with it and figure it out on the way?
Yeah, there's two different parts to that. So when I was younger and like a producer and actually did that work, that's a very sort of specific thing. I guess you're running script, you're running cameras, you're running casting and then costume design and all of that, and dealing with the channel, but you're just doing that in one little show. And I guess now I run a company. I guess it's sort of all the same things, but across multiple projects. So some days I I get home. Some days I'm bewildered by the different amount of things that I have to get my head into. But going back to that boredom thing, like I now couldn't, like if you asked me to make a show, to produce a show, like the thought of it, spending so much time on one thing, actually makes me feel quite anxious. So I can't any longer, and I think this is helpful for what I do now, I can't any longer devote a huge amount of hours in one go to one thing. But I get home at nights now, and I'm wiped out. My voice is, I sort of say I get home and I've been talking for like 8 hours. I
And
do.
we're just adding to that.
Yeah, thanks for your help.
We
Sorry.
do apologize.
Should we go for more
But
awkward
we're on it.
pauses? I talk a lot. I talk a lot anyway, and I have to talk a lot in work, and I'm just in meetings all the time talking.
How
But
do you protect your energy?
it's true. I don't want to sound pompous, but I sort of feel like I have to give a lot. And if I go into work and I'm not feeling great, I just don't think, I don't think there are any tears for me. So I just think you have to not do that. And so there is an energy in sort of being the person who is trying to give the most energy, provide constantly the direction. And the more you think you can set direction, the more people look to you for it. So you sort of feed into this, well, Ash will know what to do. I go, well, I guess it is my job. Of course, you have to bring people with you. And I'm not a dictator. I really am not.
No, but that's a leader. It's a leader.
It's being a leader.
Yeah.
And I do take that really seriously.
Yeah.
And I've worked for people who aren't leaders, and it's awful. Like if the person at the top doesn't provide a direction, like I see what happens, and I really don't like that. So I never wanted to be that guy or that woman. I always think if you're going to, like, all it is my job. Again, these aren't brags. It's just, I always think, oh, when you're speaking about being a leader, and if you think, well, I do lead, it sounds kind of pompous. I'm like, all it is just fulfilling my role properly.
Which you obviously do very well, and it just comes very naturally.
Well, it's not for me to say if I do it well, but I certainly take that part of it seriously. Like, I think, therefore, I think it's important maybe to not speak first in meetings. I try to not dominate them, but when it comes to the moment, like, I'll help make the decision, or more than help.
What do you love most about what you do?
The hundreds, if not thousands, of people that come my way in my work. So I'm sort of addicted to people.
Well, you're a Gemini, aren't you?
I'm a Gemini.
So it goes with
Is that what it is?
if you believe in that.
Sure, let's say yes. If that's what it says and that's what I am, then there's some evidence. It probably feeds back into the boredom thing. So my work it's sort of quite wildly, there are writers and actors and agents and channels, and like, so the train track of my life is quite big. And I guess when you add that to my personality, that's really lucky. So I think it's the thing. I'm like, I get to meet movie stars, I get to meet runners, I get to meet sound people, I get to meet executives, and put all of that together, and it sort of keeps the film of my life in my head sort of quite interesting and fast.
And every day is different.
It's fast.
right?
I like that.
Yeah.
How do you navigate the different personalities and egos? Because you are dealing with like movie stars, and like how do you navigate that?
I think with famous people, I'll go back to my dad for this one. Like, his whole thing is nobody's better than you. You're as good as anyone. And that was part of my,
I want to meet your dad.
yeah,
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
he is pretty awesome. He's also a lunatic, but
We like lunatics.
yeah,
They resonate with us.
yeah, I get that. I like lunatics too. I think he's very, that was part of the Rocky montage of my sort of childhood, which was like, you've got to, be respectful, but don't overly look up to people. And I've always felt that. And I always think, this is a business of egos. And I think if people knew how badly people behave in my industry, they'd be shocked. And I guess you guys know that
Yeah.
as well. I think it's a real eye opener. And so whoever I'm meeting, some very well-known people, my starting point is we're on a level. And sometimes that goes well and sometimes that goes badly. But what I certainly can't allow myself to do is to start overly trying to please someone. So I'm like, well, then they need to please me as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how
Yeah.
it has to be. Because otherwise you get fucked and you get wrecked. And otherwise you are, the more power you give someone, the more power they want. And you're in a washing machine, like a downward cycle. Yeah. So I think that's like, and I swear to God, if Barack Obama walked in this room now, I'd be like, hey, how's it going? You know, and I adore him. I'm not unrespectful. Like, I think it works. Like people, if you just take a relaxed attitude around somebody, I think it goes well. I think, you know, when you're going toe to toe with somebody, if somebody's behaving badly in my business, then I just can't, I'd rather not work with them. I don't need to. I don't, but I'm, yeah. I think I'm good at reading people quick, super fast. Everything's fast in my life, I'm telling you. But I think that's the thing.
I like that. I like that everything's fast in your life. I think we could all take a page out of that.
Absolutely.
Have you ever
Taking
been with
action.
somebody who can't read a room? Like if somebody who
Oh,
you go,
yes.
it's awful,
Yeah.
right?
But that is a gift. Not a lot of people can do that.
That's the thing. I
It-
think
Yeah.
that's a superpower in
Yes.
people. If you can go in and like you can figure out a vibe, a politics, a sense, a mood, what the room needs, what the room doesn't need,
Yeah. Yeah.
what would be helpful for you to say in that moment, but all very quickly. I think that's a cool thing.
Yeah, that's definitely a superpower.
That's a cool thing.
But that goes back to intuition, I believe. So if you are clued up and you are listening to that, I think your judgment on a lot of things is going to be far more accurate, and you're going to read a room better.
So
and
do you believe you're born with it or it's taught?
intuition.
No, intuition and also being able to kind of read a room.
Oh, I think it's probably a bit of both. But I think if you have amazing role models in your life as well who instill those concepts and ideologies and thoughts and feelings into you, then you look at the world with a completely different lens. Like to have a father who gave you that advice and taught you to be strong in that way is amazing. And as a result, the way that you live your life is different to how it would have been had he not given you those nuggets, right?
Yeah. And it's interesting, isn't it? It's like, where does sense of self tip into
Yeah.
arrogance? And there's some arrogance, like a prescribed dose of arrogance, helpful or not. They talk about sports people. I know you had some sports people on the podcast, and they often sort of talk about, I'm a football fan, right? So they talk about
Who do you support?
I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah, he is.
It's a good time to be
It's
an
a good
Arsenal
time.
fan right now.
I go to all the matches. I was there on Saturday. But they talk about like strikers in football, like having that slight sort of selfishness. They want the ball. They want to do the thing, sort of having that. And so there's something in that. And then pure arrogance is just disgusting and awful, like really unappealing. And I hate that. So there's sort of, I think about ego sometimes as well, and like what a smart sense of ego is for me. And then I come back to the wheelchair as well, which is like without ego, without this sort of sense of self, I could have just sort of disappeared.
Yeah.
And then that loops back to my upbringing, which is like, just make sure you don't do that.
What was the shift like when you suddenly started winning all these awards and your life opened up, I can imagine, in a completely different way? BAFTAs and just such an exciting time. How did that, what was the shift in your mindset and outlook on the world, and how do people treat you differently as well? I think that's quite interesting. Yeah.
And actually, it's a really interesting kind of in terms of specifically speaking to you two and what you guys also do, because part of my sort of psyche and sort of my fear of growing up was like, will I be allowed to play with the cool kids? And part of that was, I've spoken about this before, was women. Will I ever sort of have a girlfriend? And because I'm in a wheelchair, will it be somebody who nobody else wants? Right? These were the bad thoughts that I would have, and then sort of being quite hard on myself, and then this is sort of a meandering answer, but it does all piece together. There was also a thing around the wheelchair, and in the 90s, it sort of shocks me when I say it out loud, but a lot of places, sort of clubs and things like, wouldn't let me in because of
Really?
the wheelchair. So there was sort of it was a bit of a fire. There was a fire thing going on. But later than, isn't it funny, like all of this Me Too stuff, we always kind of go, it's only 7 years ago. Like all of this stuff is kind of recent.
Yeah. Yeah, it is
The way
actually.
men
Yeah.
would speak about women,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah, it is very
it's
recent. Yeah.
recent, right? So quite recently, like I would go out and not be allowed into places, and a bouncer or somebody in the door would go, no, you can't, you're a fire risk. And I go, huh? I go, you're a fire risk. And so it sort of all kind of played in my mind, and I think got to me in a way that I probably wouldn't admit when I look back on it. So to go back to your question, one thing that happened in that moment was I felt that London opened up in a way, and because that, as I've said to you already, that's something that's really important to me. That sort of going out things. I was like, oh, okay, I can get into the Met Bar. I
Yeah.
can get into here. I can get in that. That was the work. I guess that was a tussle between the work arm wrestling the wheelchair and the work winning,
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
moment. I guess how I would put that. And so that was one thing. And then on a professional level, getting your calls returned,
Yeah. Suddenly people are wanting to chat all
people
the
wanting to
time.
chat,
Mm.
people wanting to chat. And that was really nice. And I guess it just all came together for me in that moment. And, I think I relaxed maybe when I would meet people. I felt I had less to prove. I was less the needy guy who was trying to be funny. And I was like, it definitely brought me a real sense of calm that I still feel to this day with
Is
all
that
of that.
because of the credibility in a way? It's like I've earned it, and it's more about less about, because what you said earlier about being peers with people. So you're at the table, you're there. Like now, there is no denying it.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
It brought together where I hoped I would be to where I was. And I hope it hasn't turned me into a bad person, but it's also brought me this sense of belonging. And that is the table that I always wanted to be at. And then when I got to it, I just thought, well, this is undeniable. Then the next thing that happens is staying at the table.
Yeah. You're like,
right?
oh, now I need to do something next. What does that look
And
like?
just like
Yeah.
being in and around it, it's like, oh, I really like these rooms. I like this
Yeah.
table. I like these drinks. I like these people.
Yeah.
How do I make this the rest of my life? And that's become the next bit.
The work. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
that's the work.
Yeah.
So what is next for you? Are you working on anything that you can share, or is it all top secret?
Uh, it- I always think for anyone to call their next things top secret in this world where there's so much flying around, who cares? I always think that's funny when people say that. The thing that we've been doing more is like moving into drama, because I think for reasons I won't bore this podcast with, like the world of comedy and sitcoms are tough these days. They don't travel around the world as well as they used to, and they're very local, so the world of streaming that's come into our lives sort of wants slightly bigger projects, and maybe getting a bit older as well. Well, then, funny, you talk about the tables. Then the next table because I think comedy in the world of television can be like, a bit looked down on. Get those
Yeah.
guys trying to be funny, that they're
Yeah.
not serious, like the drama people.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is sort of. There's
Sort
like
of
mm,
the enfant terrible,
yeah,
the
it's like, oh, those are
kids.
the comedy
Oh yeah, they're the
guys.
comedy
Yeah.
kids. They're so specific.
Yeah.
Bless them. They're so funny.
Yeah. Drama, it's like they're the
right.
real, Yeah.
Big brains, all
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
And so taking my sort of psyche of then wanting to be at the next table, then I sort of would look at drama, and really that was all exacerbated by the world of streaming. And I'd go, well, like, now I want to be on that table. And so that's the thing that my company, Rough Cuts, I'll give us a plug, have been.
Woo, Rough
Well,
Cut.
go on, Rough Cut. Give me an R. Imagine if we did that for every letter and we're going, are we doing this?
Yeah, we can
No,
do it,
no,
shall we?
absolutely not. We mustn't. But I was like, let's see how that looks, because I think the skill set we have in comedy, I think trying to make people laugh is like one of the hardest things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do that. You can do
I
anything.
think so.
It's like stand-up comedy. I think that's the bravest thing that you can do. One of the bravest things you can
Yeah.
do.
Comedy's the hardest out of all of them.
It's really hard.
Mm.
It's really hard. And so the sort of pomposity of the drama community, of course, what kind of red rag to me do you think all of that has been?
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing, and it's going well. We've got a big new drama coming out on Channel 4. We're filming this summer, and we've got a show called Little Disasters on Paramount Plus, and that's what I want to do as well as a comedy. Yeah.
What do you think about the whole micro drama? Verticals or everything, like that whole space? Is that intriguing? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it is. Somebody came to see me about it the other day. I'm like, we only have so much bandwidth, but something about what we do in the world of television, like in this world of like wild change, right? Like politics, like it's a ride out there these days in every direction. There's something about what I do that is sort of quite old fashioned, which is writers, scripts, actors, right? And so you can get carried away with all the white noise around you. People are watching television differently. People are like
ambient
watching YouTube,
TV.
more ambient TV. We're competing with video games, all of that, AI, all of those things. And then I actually think about my day's work. What I'm going to do after this today is go into a room, or various people come to see me, and when we make a show, there's actors saying things and the cameras kind of look the same. Maybe they're a bit smaller. So there's a real old school thing about what I still do. And then there are things like microdramas and podcasts. Funny enough, podcasts are something that I, should have got into, not having my own podcast, but in sort of being a sort of having that wing to our company, having be an at-scale producer of some podcasts. And microdramas fits that, because right now I'm like, I can see it. And so I'm thinking like, I should probably be getting involved now, because probably in like 3 years we'll be here. And they're already a thing, of course.
Yeah. And now it's kind of exploding.
The answer is we're not doing anything. And the second answer is I'm sure I'm going to regret it and do already.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure you'll, when the timing's right, you'll know.
Find my way to it.
Yeah. You're fast.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of suits me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ash is fast.
Ash is fast.
We have a couple of yes or maybe questions, and these are just like quick fire yes, no, or maybe answers. And if you would like to elaborate, you may.
Sure.
But we know you like to be quick. So do you want to go first?
I'll go first. Have you ever accidentally left an award in a very visible spot for guests to see?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time.
Which is your proudest award?
Well, let's just say it. I've got 6 BAFTAs, so and I've got some other nice ones, but the proudest one is the row of 6.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
So I sometimes let's just get into this fucking name dropping. Let's just do this for a second. I had a Zoom on Friday with the actor Dominic West. We've met a couple of times, we don't really know each other. And he was 15 minutes late to the Zoom. And I had been asked by him to, or his team, to take the Zoom because he wanted to ask me a bit of advice. All right. And because of my stupid ego and mentality, I was so furious that he was late to the Zoom that he had requested, that when he came on, I said, nobody keeps Ash Atalla waiting. And I turned the camera around to show him my 6 BAFTAs.
There we go.
There we go.
I'm an awful
I
man.
mean, no.
No, I am.
No.
Say it. You're
You
thinking it.
earned it.
No,
You
I'm
can do
awful.
it.
I'm dreadful.
I once sat down with a Oscar-winning writer, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I keep my Oscar in the bathroom, so when my guests come around and they're on the loo, they have something to look
I
at."
have something to look at. My wild success.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay,
Yeah.
great. Where is it? I want to see it. Can
I'm
I
coming
touch
round
it?"
for a piss.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Oh.
Oh, that's funny.
Do you think success changes people?
Yeah. 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 Success changes people. I see it a lot. Not always for the worst. And it's changed me. Maybe some good, some bad. I definitely see that whole "I've created a monster, we're creating monsters" thing. I think some people wear it like lightly and well. Successful people who have like worn it well. I'm going to give a no. I'm not going to say it. There are some people who are like just adorable with it. Oh fuck it, Emma Thompson, the
Oh.
glorious
I've
Emma
met her.
Thompson,
She's so lovely.
right?
Oh.
So lovely, and
What an icon.
I talk to her about her success to the point at which it embarrasses her. I'm like, she's so casual about it and so charming with it, and sort of, if ever we're meeting up, she walks to the restaurants, and there's something when you sort of see people who live in it so well, and then there are other people who like the paraphernalia of it, and want to be looked at than not be looked at, and for sure. I think it's really hard for it to not change you. I think, don't forget, I'm a backroom boy, right? So for actors as well, like who are the face of it, I mean, it's all designed to fuck you. It's all designed to mess you up.
Yeah.
It's all designed to bring out the worst. Where fame meets money, is not where you bring out the best in humanity. It can't be.
I mean, last year I shot a project, and I had a small taste of being a tiny part of a big project. But you get picked up, and you get driven to set, and you get put in your trailer, and they ask you what you want to drink, and you can understand why your ego becomes so big, because everyone is pandering to you. And I know ultimately as an actor, it's so that you can do the best job, not be distracted. You can get onto set, you can do what you need to do. But it's and that's just a very small thing that I was doing. Yet I got given such incredible hospitality, if you will.
Yeah.
And I can see how it can change people's the way they see the world as they grow, unless you are very grounded and rooted in who you are and what you stand for. And
Everyone wanting you,
yeah,
people sending you stuff, the demands on your time, choice, having multiple choices over what you do with your life, travel, making the world smaller. I think it all cooks. The word talent, they're even called talent actors. We're stopping that in the industry. Sort of something I used to think, like, what does that do to everyone else who works on the show? The actors are the talent,
yeah,
right? But
makes
not the
everyone else feel like they don't have talent.
right. So I think the BBC have got this big, like, we don't use that word, or we're all talent. But yeah,
Do you believe in soulmates?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm really big into friendship, like deep friendships, and I'm lucky enough to have some really good ones. If you mean it in relationship
I think it could
terms,
be all terms.
yeah, just like friends, which can be relationships or not. Like, yeah, I think I've had a lot of time with like men in my life, just sort of some men who have outlived, most of my romantic relationships, who I've sort of been friends with for about, well, way over half my life, and will continue to be so. So yeah, I'm really loyal to friendships and stuff like that. So yeah,
I
I'm a
love that you
soulmate
went
guy.
straight to friendships. I think
Yeah.
that's
Friends that become family.
Yeah, friends that become family, and that's, well, what is a relationship? It should be a friendship, romantic or otherwise,
Always.
as
That's
well,
how it
right?
should always start.
It
Yeah.
should always be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is writer's block just a fancy word for laziness?
That's a great question. I think to be a writer, I think there are certain kind of characteristics and I think it's probably people with quite busy minds. Um, I'm really in awe of great writing. I sit there and I kind of look at it and I go, where did we all think about it. Somebody who's written a great tune, somebody's written a great book, somebody's written a great script. Where did the words come from? And so I accept that the kind of person who can excel in that is a complicated person.
Hey, look at
All
me.
right. Is that you?
All right.
Yeah.
That was like a yes, she's
There it was.
complicated.
She really looked at you like, oh, mate, tell me about it.
She was like, shit, this
Shit.
one over here.
Look at this one.
She's got a lot going on.
So funny. But, and so I understand that, it's not like, get in that room and give me 20 press ups. It can't be like that. And there are ebbs and flows to that process. God, they are also infuriating. It's an infuriating process. I tend to find that dealing with those people is like 60% of my job, and taking a bit of carrot and stick to that, and it's knowing when to do that as well. And also it's a thing where there are no definites in it. So then, I had something with a writer that I'm working with, and she's a really powerful person, which is really, and a pretty big name writer. And she sent me a draft of something, and it just wasn't good. And we'd been working on it a long time, and it just wasn't good. And I thought a long time about how that we would convey that. And she's, not without her ego either, and nor am I. And I was just like, we both want the same thing here, but because it's, the opposite of maths, like what's a good script? I think I know because it's actually my job, and I think she knows because it's actually her job too. But how you get to that without upsetting somebody, and it is, they say you're sort of shooting a writer in the heart if you say, because it's their words, it's their mind, So you've got to be careful. You've got to be emotionally intelligent about that, and in a sense, you're trying to bring out the best of people, and don't go in all guns blazing unless that is the right thing to do, you think.
But also it's the starting point of a project. So if the script isn't where it needs to be, how can anyone get to where they need to be? It's the first blueprint.
You don't get away with bad writing. Doesn't ever get any better once you've filmed it.
Yeah.
Right? It
Yeah.
only unravels more from then. And I'm rarely in the edit going, we got away with it. You're normally in the edit going, oh, the problems that we're seeing on screen were sort of there
From
going
the
back to the
get-go.
script.
Yeah.
Great actors can elevate, and sometimes an actor go, wow, they made these words work more than those words perhaps deserve to.
I think we have one last one.
Right.
Ooh.
And this is a good one to end, actually. Is the after party usually better than the actual event?
You know what I'm gonna say. Yeah, award ceremonies are. Listen, I'm fine at them. I try to not. I don't drink at them until I've been on stage. I have actually given a speech when I'd had too many drinks, and the next day it's
You're like, oh,
nah.
Were they trying to get you off the
Ah.
stage? Were you there for too long?
I'll tell you off camera something actually I did, and that shit stays with you. So don't do that. But yeah. Often, by the way, I don't know. Statistically, at award ceremonies, you've normally lost because you've got, in theory, you've got 4 people in the category. So in theory, if you do the maths, you win 25% of the time that you go.
Yeah.
Which means 75 you've got dressed up and you haven't won. So then it's like making sure you enjoy that too, because going to an award ceremony and not winning should still not be one of the worst nights of your life. There should still be other times. So yeah, but I love the after party.
Any after parties that stand out to you that have been particularly legendary that you can share?
Yeah, I think after the BAFTAs one year, I sort of went, and I think I went straight. Maybe it was one of the office ones. I think I went straight to the Met Bar with my BAFTA. Good. Yeah, and that was in the days where that place was the Chiltern of its time.
Yeah.
The Met Bar, and I think there were all sorts of fun people in there, and I was just.
Did you keep it on you, or did you take it to the cloakroom?
No, I lost one once. I lost one. I lost the IT crowd. We won a BAFTA for the IT crowd, and we went to the after show party, and I lost it. And Dermot O'Leary, do you know Dermot O'Leary?
Yeah,
he found it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Where was it?
He phoned me up the next day. I was left it on the table.
Oh,
Why not? He said, "I think I've got your BAFTA." I went, "That's so great because I don't have it."
Wondering where it went to.
If you're lucky enough to win, you then have this friend on you
Yeah.
for the rest of the night. But yeah.
We have a wonderful photo from 3 years ago at the Chiltern Firehouse in the cloakroom. There were like 7 BAFTAs and they all had coat check tags on. We have this picture, so we'll show you after
that
because
right?
it's a great photograph. It's like so iconic. Everyone just checked
yeah, it's
their
mad.
BAFTAs into the cloakroom.
They are very heavy, and
Yeah.
balancing that in a martini is not for the
It's not
faint-hearted.
ideal. One last question, just before we love and leave you. Any advice for up-and-coming writers or producers? Let's say producers, because that's your space. If they want to get into this industry, which is a hard one to get into, what would you say?
I think there's a real. Don't be generic. Like be really specific. Like be full of flavor wherever that takes you. Like have too much spice in your food. Make your shows really definite. Push to say something. Because there's enough people in the middle. Don't be in the middle.
Oh, that's great advice. Be full of flavor.
Be full of flavor.
I love
yeah.
that.
Thank you so much for giving us your time and being a part of this. We've been badgering you to come on, so it's finally happened.
Oh,
So
I said, yeah, nobody can say no to you two. I certainly
can
couldn't.
be quite persuasive.
Yeah, we can be when we're
It's a
together.
pleasure to be here. Thanks a lot so much for having me.
Such an
Really
honor,
nice.
Ash. Thank you.